Okay, so here's my 94 Chevy throttle body injected 350. Decided while it's out and handy, I'm just gonna go ahead and do an oil pan gasket. It's not really leaking anywhere except for right here at the dipstick grommet, but you know, that can change. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. The motor is going in the old black short bed here at some point. So let's just see how it goes. Yes, might be a real nightmare. No idea what size these ones are. Probably 10 millimeter. Ten's just a little bit big and mine is just a bit too small, so it must be standard size. Three-eighths is perfect. We're just going to drive those off of it. There's 600 of them. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong, but you know, figure that out later. Okay, there's a couple over here that are studs, so I'm glad I got those steep well. Bag those up, otherwise they'll disappear. Okay, there's a few that are different size, so we're going to try 7/16. That's not it. That's the one. These are a 1/2 inch, the ones in the corner. Blast those off. I got a nut stuck up in here. Came right out with the bolt. Same thing's probably going to happen with this one. Oh, no, it brought the stud out with it. Okay. Okay, so that's all of them. Wasn't that much of a chore at all. Okay, we're gonna set that there. See if this will just peel off. Oh, there's one more left. Oops. That's gonna be smaller. It's gonna be smooth. Not that small. Somewhere in between. Yep. Okay, that's going to go there. And then the bolt that's underneath it looks to be a little bit smaller, so we're going to go back down to our 3/8, and that got it. Alright, that all goes in the bag. All goes in the bag together. Now, this should come off. Should come right off. Alright. Look how easy that was. Brackets. Some have these brackets and some don't for the sides of the oil pan. These newer ones do. Look at that. It's not even that bad. There's not a whole lot of crap in the bottom of it or anything. It's not bent or warped. So we're going to leave that sit there and clean it out later on. So far so good. I can get this old gasket off of there pretty easily. It's actually in really nice shape too. If I can get it all off of here in one piece, it means a lot less scraping. May not have to scrape at all. I'm gonna have to drop the dipstick. This is nothing that the average guy can't do at home with average guy tools, and maybe an engine stand that you borrow from somebody. Oh, I broke the factory oil pan gasket right here in the corner. It's in there pretty good, but that's all right. We're gonna keep on rolling. There we go. Got that off of there. She's in nice shape. Just kind of doing it as a precautionary type of thing, but you know, better to do it while it's sitting in front of me than while it's underneath the truck. I think the dipstick is going to have to come out to get this off of here. It's definitely going to have to come off to get the new one in. Okay. Didn't have to take the dipstick to get the old one out. The new one is going to require the dipstick to come out. Okay, there's most of the rest of the oil pan gasket. The only part that's left is the part that's up here on the front main seal. Seems like it's kind of pressed in there a little bit. which is a good thing. I mean, it wasn't leaking or anything, so just gotta figure out how to get it out of there. I don't know the magic word. I think when they put these in there, they use a little bit of RTV or something, maybe. It's harder. Okay, it's coming out. I did not expect that level of effort for this, but like I said, it's not really a bad thing. It's a good thing that it was in there good. Get that old RTV out of there, out of those corners, because the new RTV will have to go in. Make sure none of it gets down in the motor. Alright. I think we're in fantastic shape here. I'll show you what I got. Look at that. Looking pretty clean. Got just a little bit of gritty stuff on the underside there, but everything looks pretty well oiled. Nothing's broken. I think we're in good shape. Might maybe do that oil pump while we're in here. I don't know. The screen looks pretty clean. Looks pretty good. Might just leave it alone. Might just seal her back up. To go through here with a razor blade and scrape this down, clean it all up good, make sure everything will seal back up. You can see the lip there where the gasket was stuck in. Same at the back, only at the back it was a lot easier to get out. But I'll have to scrape all that down, put a little bit of RTV there in the corners where the gasket meets the end of the edge of the block. You can still see a little bit of RTV right here from factory. That's where it goes, is right in here. Make sure you use some good black RTV on that. Don't just put the gasket in. Doesn't matter what anybody says, that's the best way to do it. So, yeah, we'll want to clean it up and take another video putting the new pan gasket in. We're in pretty good shape here. Yeah. To get in here and do a little bit of hand scraping. Maybe get out a toothbrush or something, I don't know. But yeah, just get that crap out of there and away from the cavity. You don't want to get a bunch of junk down in the motor. So we'll keep working on this and come back to it. I think for better access, we're going to go ahead and take the oil filter adapter off. It's kind of in the way, sort of an afterthought, but it's pretty easy to do, just a couple of bolts and got the threads on. So we'll get that off of there, give us access to this back corner and this couple inches of mating surface that we can't really get to with a razor that well. We're going along pretty good though so far. Yeah, see? Just comes right off of there. I'll put this fucking thing somewhere. Probably put it in the oil pan. Perfect. Yeah, now we can get to that space. Well done. Okay, some of this old gasket is still down inside that seal. So I'm taking this brush and scraping out what I can. Working a little bit, you know. Didn't want to get in there with anything too harsh, but you know, a steel brush ought to get the job done. Yeah, you can see it's cleaning up. So I'm just going to work on that for a little bit. Front and rear. Rear is not near as bad. And we'll get back to it. Well, the old toothbrush got 97% of that out of there. Kind of shine it up a little. I'll need to wipe it down, but you know, I think that's going to work. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit more, and then I'll be done with this part. All right, we got our scraping done. That's looking pretty damn clean. The rear one, as I suspected, cleaned up real nice as well. Yeah, I should have taken the damned flex plate off, but it'll work without, you know, much of a problem. Anyway, I'm gonna get a little bit of brake parts cleaner and spray out some of these little crevices here and stuff. Get things away from the inside of the motor, and then we'll start probably wipe down the windage tray here and start cleaning the oil pan. Whoosh! Whoosh! That's probably good. Okay, yeah, I just did a pretty light spray of brake parts cleaner on these areas here just to kind of knock any extra debris, you know, down away from the inside of the motor. I'm just kind of wiping that up now. Don't want any surprises, you know, in the oil pan later. And then I just sort of wipe down this windage tray, you know, get some of that old 30-year-old crap off of that. Sorry if the camera's shaky or whatever. I'm doing some work here. You know, probably nothing that'll make a huge difference, but makes me feel a little bit better. At least I can say I did it. Oh, there goes the O-ring for the oil filter adapter. I'll have to get another one of those. Probably just, I think I'm just going to button her up for the night. My shop light, my driveway light, gone down in the west. So I got the oil pan cleaned up, and just set back on the motor so nothing gets down in there. Same thing with the oil filter adapter. Cleaned it up real good and bolted it back on just for the night. The new pan gasket actually comes with the new O-ring for that, so I don't have to reuse the old one. Get back to it tomorrow. Put just a little bit of the black RTV in there and get it just on that one area. Doesn't take much. And we'll finish up with this front corner right here on the edge. Alright. So the Felpro set comes with these blue plastic upright studs. They're meant for when you're laying on your back underneath the truck. You can slip the pan gasket on there and it'll hold them up. You screw them into the thread holes and they have these ridges on them that'll hold up the gasket. So I put them on there just to help align it. And this one here had a stud coming up out of it, so I'm just going to leave that stud in there. It'll help with the alignment back here. No RTV anywhere else, just those four corners. We're going to come back with the gasket here in a second. Okay, so we're setting the new gasket down on those studs. Got to get it fitted down in there. A little bit of working around. It's soft rubber, but you know, it's meant to fit perfect, like perfectly snug. So you got to get it pushed down on there. Around the back side of the motor. Get it on this last stud. Okay, that's in there. Pushing out black RTV a little bit. All the holes are lining up. I vacuumed all those out, by the way, because I'm sure there was some dust and old material getting in there. Make sure these are lined up. Okay, that looks pretty good. So, next step is to set the oil pan on there. So that's what we're going to do. Double check I didn't leave anything in here. Nope, no screwdrivers, no pliers. Just gotta work it down on there. Okay, we're on. Everything is still lined up. All the holes are lined up good. Looks real nice. You can see all the holes are lined up. The studs did a nice job keeping everything in place. You can see the gasket here at the back of the oil pan. We should be able to see it a little bit at the front too. Yep, right there behind the timing cover. Nice gasket. Felpro kit. I think it was $38 at O'Reilly. So, okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to tighten up those bolts now. Okay, so we got the pan on there. Got all the bolts in. I actually cleaned up those brackets with my toothbrush and kind of hand tightened the bolts on. They kind of go in a specific order, and you have to use the nut back here on this stud. And then there was a stud here for this bracket. I think that's for transmission lines. And yeah, some of them were 3/8. These were 7/16 on the corners, I think, or 5/8 maybe. I'll need to go through with the torque wrench and torque them down to spec, but yeah, all on there. I don't have a bunch of RTV squirting out everywhere. Looks pretty good so far. So we're just about done with this part. Now we'll get back to it. Alright, I've gone through and torqued all the bolts, the little ones to 9 foot-pounds and the big ones on the corners to 12. Just double checking real quick before I flip this motor back over. The old hobo freight torque wrench. Alright, let me struggle this thing back over right side up. I got the oil filter adapter on there. I got new spark plugs in. I toothbrushed the exhaust manifold ports. Hopefully everything's out of the way and I can get her flipped over. We'll see here in just a minute. Okay, with a little bit of help from my friend Square Tube and 5-foot rock bar, I was able to get the engine back upright. I can see now that I think I have a leak from maybe the distributor seal. The motor was upside down for a little bit, and there's oil coming from around the distributor, so I'm going to have to figure that out and fix that, because that's definitely something you don't want to do while the motor is in there if you can avoid it. Maybe coming from here. I think it's coming from there. So figure out what to do about that, and we'll fix it later. But anyway, yeah, that's how you put an oil pan gasket in a small block Chevy 94 model, throttle body injected. Probably as easily as you'll ever be able to do it, because it was literally out of the truck and upside down on an engine stand. So it doesn't get any easier than that. I'd say the big thing is just, use the RTV in those corners sparingly, torque the bolts, make sure all the surfaces are clean. Take your time. I probably could have done this in an hour, but I've never done it before, not like this. So and taking the videos, maybe it took a little bit longer too. So but all together was mostly pain-free. Hope you all got some enjoyment at least out of this, but maybe somebody learned something. I know I did. So thank you and happy Memorial Day.